Greetings to a very relevant topic today, insider threat. So it comes up in the news a lot with the unfortunate security-sensitive document released by the Massachusetts National Guard IT admin on all of the social networking platforms. But the bigger problem is insider threat and the wrong insiders having access to information. So to help us here, we have identity and IAM expert Peter Schawaker. Hi, Peter.
Hiya.
So first, Peter, is insider threat as big a threat as this National Guard IT incident implies?
It's as big a threat as has ever been, and it gets worse. The problem with the Teixeira case, and I think that's how you pronounce the guy's name, is that it's not representative. It's not like, you don't see that kind of thing very often. And the fact that it's in the news and so prominently in the news really should be enough evidence that like people should be careful about how they talk about it. In cybersecurity, we have a tendency to overplay the cards that we're handed. And although it's good because it gets people asking questions about insider threat, that particular case is so strange and so extreme that I would caution people against using any of the particulars in their own sort of security strategy or designing defenses and things like that.
And why do you think insider threat has become so serious?
Because the amount of data in the world is ballooning, because the amount of IT in the world is doing the same. The number of accounts that people have, the number of applications. I mean, the world of all cyber and information things just gets bigger and bigger all the time. And at the same time, people are crazy from COVID still, right? It's going to be years before the work, like the psychological state of the workforce comes down to a level where, people are not prone to do unwise things. At the same time, you have, more cases of disgruntled employees, and the ability to control the information in that context of like people being a little bit not right in the head on average, just creates kind of a perfect storm of for this kind of thing.
So do you think that IAM players can help, and how would you think that they could help?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say that they can help. They better, right? I mean, the industry needs to do a much better job, right? Because there are really two options that we have sort of in the world. You can either have less data, or you can control access to it better. And there's a kind of a race between the two, right? So I think, I mean, I don't know if the vendor community can even keep up, let alone get a hold of things. So both things need to happen in the same way that, like, if you want to fix your finances, spend less, make more. You want to lose weight, burn more calories, eat less garbage. I think, I think that the risk that comes with insider threats is the same way. People have to get serious about data and access at the same time that they get better control of it. And at some point we might be able to catch up. I'm not optimistic. But what you guys do, I think, is a significant addition to the toolkit.
Perfect. Thank you for saying that. So it sounds like the admin need tools to help implement the security controls. Is that right?
Oh yeah, no doubt.
But the roles still have to be reviewed, right?
Yeah, roles have to be reviewed, and they can't just be reviewed by anybody. The role review has to be done by people who are familiar with the work that gets done, by whom and how. And that means that it has to be done by people's direct managers. Like, organizations have hierarchy in order to spread, to manage span of control. And so it makes a lot of sense that access and role reviews follow the form of the organization as determined by the business hierarchy.
Perfect. Okay, so that's where we here at UHS come in. Garrett, what are your thoughts on this?
Exactly as Peter was saying. That's it. I mean, and I like what he said when he answered, can IAMs help? And he goes, hopefully, because what Peter and I would agree on is the IAM is the enforcement point, rock and roll. Use what you have, use your groups, use your roles, use your permissions, right? But where UATest comes in is to make sure that wonderful enforcement point is actually set up, not just once, not the first time, but all the time. It should be periodically. UATest is used periodically. When we first started, as you know, where people were doing it yearly and then quarterly, now all the good groups are doing it at least monthly. Do your access reviews on those privileges counts. Do them also, use UATest triggers, and start understanding the roles and permissions that you are granted. And that helps in the concept of insider threat by implementing PRAC-6, the principle of least privilege.
Perfect. Thanks, Garrett. So Peter, can you tell the audience how they can get a hold of you?
Yeah, two ways. LinkedIn is usually the best. I'm one of 7 Schawakers in the world, and I think the other ones are my kids and my mom. Or you can find us on the web at www.nearshorecyber.com.mx.
Perfect. Thank you so much for having us on. And then, of course, just contact us at info@uatest.com, and we'll get you going on your identity audits to reduce your exposure to insider threats. Thanks again, Peter.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Peter.